It's time to play this or that.
No.
So like royal blue looks
Fun.
on me. I love royal blue.
If people knew about it, everybody would want that. If they really understood what was available, they would want that. If you knew you could do anything, if you knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do? And I just said,
this what a legacy look like. This what
So we did a very exciting interview with guest image and color consultant Joy. We'll link her Instagram as well. And that was a really fun interview. Our first ever remote interview via Zoom. Came with its challenges, but we are learning and growing.
And we are so excited that we got that experience.
You know what? We did it, and it came out really well, and we can't wait for you guys to watch this episode. Hi, everybody. We wanted to welcome you back to a very special episode of So This Is 30. We're really excited today because we've got a special guest. Her name is Joy, and she's going to bring us into the world of color analysis. And for some of you that may not know, it was a very cool experience. Isaiah and I got to have a firsthand experience with what that was. So we're really excited to introduce Joy to our podcast. And we hope you'll, inform our viewers and maybe, expand some minds. And we're really excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us on the So This Is 30 podcast.
thank you for having me here. Wonderful to be with you guys, and hi to everybody.
You want to start with maybe telling us a little bit about yourself, Joy?
Sure. So my name is Joy Mahana, and I live in Deep Cove, North Vancouver, and I have a business called Joy Color and Image Consulting. And I feel like I was born into this because I had this beautiful mom, and she was tall and kind of model-esque. She had a different kind of body than I have. And she was really into fashion. We lived in this very small town. It was like nobody was into fashion, but she was. And so I grew up inside of that. And she had this ritual where she would only shop twice a year, which is kind of interesting, right? It's very disciplined. And so she would go kind of in the spring and then again in the fall. And she'd buy about 3 complete outfits. And I would be a little girl and she would take me with her. And she would buy me a little sticker book, like maybe a Barbie sticker book or something like that.
Oh, that's
and
so cute.
she would find a little seat for me, and she'd sit me in the corner, and I would be like glued to my sticker book. And she had hours to kill shopping. And so, that was her thing. And then it became my thing, right? Because I was just raised in that environment. And she so appreciated clothes. So I felt like I've been born into this.
That's so cool. We appreciate you explaining that story and kind of showing where the spark kind of came up for you. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
And so in terms of a color and image consultant, for anyone who might not know what that is, because I found you through a mutual. And when I found that, I was so I thought it was the coolest thing. I was so inspired by that. I thought it was so cool. But for someone who might not know what that is, how would you describe what an image and color consultant is?
Yeah. So I specialize in both color and image. And so in terms of color, I'm in my office here. And so these are all my fabrics and swatches that we test with. So I'm certified in a SciArt 12-season methodology. And so you come to my home, you sit in front of a mirror, and then you have an opportunity to see like literally hundreds and hundreds of colors all in one sitting. And you get to see the colors that elevate you and have you look your very best and feel your very best. And then just as importantly, you get to see those colors that completely take you out, have you recede into the background, be like unmemorable, feel kind of crummy, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Also, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was just going to say off of that, I remember when we were sitting in your chair and you mentioned something about colors standing in front of you. And I was like, that makes so much sense.
I never thought of it like that.
Yeah, I veer away from certain colors. There's definitely colors that I'm like, I don't think this works for me. And I saw that in our session, but having a color stand in front of me, I never had a phrase for that or a word for that. And I was like, but I look good in blue. Why does this not work for me? And so I felt like I really learned that during our session.
Yeah. Yeah. You're talking about like when a color's too much for you and when it's
Yeah.
out in front or dominating you or kind of heavy on you.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
very cool experience to physically see that. And just again with the color swatches that you have behind, that's something that we kind of did when we went. We got to see what that looked like and when those colors did dominate us. So that was a really cool experience.
Yeah. And I was listening to one of your podcasts and you talked about how like color is often forgotten with respect to style, which is interesting, right? Because
Yeah.
color is so make or break for all of us. And I appreciated that you said it's often overlooked. And it was like, yeah, it is often overlooked.
Yeah. I think a lot of times you think silhouette, you think of style, you think,
You're thinking classic colors of black and white and
the traditional formal. But I feel like you can look so elevated as well. And that's something that we've learned with you, in whatever color, assuming that it does, suit your color style. And then also, like in terms of like breaking that up, how do you find, first off, how many different color styles are there in terms
How
of
many different seasons, you mean?
Yeah, because I'm having a tough time remembering.
Yeah. So I work with the 12 season methodology. So
Right.
this is one particular season. This is a dark winter. This was the lady that came yesterday.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I've got 12 of these, like all different varieties of that. And I chose the 12 season methodology because it's enough seasons that it includes everyone. Back in the day in the 70s and 80s, color analysis was a very, very popular, and they had 4 seasons back then. And they found over time that only about 25% of the population falls under one of those 4 seasons. So 75% of people weren't being well served by it. And so eventually a woman named Catherine Kalitz came out with the 12 season methodology, and it's really nice because it's inclusive, but it's also not so many seasons that you can't recognize the changes in the colors to be able to identify your own colors.
Okay, I really like that. Yeah.
During our session, it was interesting to me how you explained how you actually got into this career choice and starting your own business. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that?
Yes, I would love to. So, as I said, fashion and style has always been a big part of my life. I've always loved it. And my mom, by the way, she did dress me in my colors, which is kind of interesting, right? Like
Oh,
She
I think
knew.
we were both winters, and she didn't know she was a winter, but she did know intuitively what colors worked for her and for me. And so she dressed me in like basically in my best colors. And then when I went away from home, though, left to my own devices,
as we do.
yes. Over time, I actually got further from my colors instead of closer. And one of the things that happened is I had a previous career where I was in medical device sales. And as I worked my way up, I got into a really good position and I worked 60 to 80 hours a week. And so I would hire stylists from time to time to help me out. And so towards the end of that career, I had hired a stylist who was such a beautiful woman, and she knew intuitively what her colors were. And she just was very good at gifted at dressing herself. And then when she dressed me in her colors. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't know. I've never worn these colors before. I don't think they work for me. And she was like, you look so stunning. And I was like, oh, I guess I don't know. And so I gave up my power in that moment.
Yeah.
And as we all do sometimes. And
Yeah.
so 2 years later, I had a closet full of her colors, and I was feeling worse and worse over time. And so I had this very random thought one day. I was like 46 at the time and feeling like crummy and frumpy. And I had this random thought of like, is this what it is to be 46 and I should just suck it up? Or is it my colors actually working against me? And so I wasn't even sure if they did color analysis anymore. And so I Googled it and I found a lovely lady in Vancouver and I went to her, and it was so magical. Like it was night and day for me. I'm now 54 and I feel better now than I did when I was in my 20s because I love my colors and I've embraced it. And it's just it's not a small impact that you get out of it. It is drastic. It changes your
Empowering.
life. Yes, it changes your life. And so it was like, if I thought if people knew about it, everybody would want that. If they really understood what was available, they would want that. And so after that, I would say about a year after that, I was in a development course. And one of the questions they asked is, if you knew you could do anything, if you knew you wouldn't fail, what would you do? And I just said I would be a color and image consultant if I knew I couldn't fail. And then once I said it, it was out there. And then I started to take actions and steps towards launching that business.
So amazing.
I love that. Yeah.
I also think that's just for any of our viewers, whether this specific topic or what it might be is of interest. But I think it's just so empowering to hear something like that from you, and to hear that that's kind of how you found yourself and what you
For
wanted
anyone,
to
like,
do.
launching a business and just
It's really, yeah, it's really empowering and exciting. And also another fun question we had for you, because we're curious about this as well. What does a like day in the life look like for you in terms of your profession and what you do?
Yeah. So one question that you answered, you actually asked me earlier, and I didn't
Yeah.
fully answer.
Yeah.
You asked me about color and image. And so I answered the question about color.
Yeah, that's a
But
good
in
point.
terms
Yeah.
of image, so what I do is I do personal image analysis as well. And so color accounts for about 80% of style. Like, really, if your color is off, it's just not going to work. No matter how good that garment is fitted to you, it's just not going to work if your color's off. So that's why color accounts for 80% of style. But there is a remaining 20%, right? And I noticed that when I got my colors done, it was like, so I made far less mistakes after that, but there was still the odd garment that I would get. And it would be like, I'd put it on and take it off and I wouldn't know, because it's like, okay, the color's right. So what's happening here with this? And then I started to understand that, oh, okay, so it really matters, the lines, shapes, and scales of garments that we put on our body, and having it match what's already there. And that was what had me want to do color and image as opposed to just color. I just wanted to be full service. And so with respect to my personal image analysis, how I work that is, a lot of my ladies that have had their color analysis go on to it. And so they load up a Google Doc with about 35 pictures of themselves in form-fitting clothes so that I can see the lines, shapes, and scale of their body. And so some of them wear a bikini, some of them wear, a bra and panties, or just tights, something like that. And then they also load up a whole bunch of pictures of themselves over the years, and pictures of themselves in their favorite outfits, and then pictures of themselves in outfits where they're like, I don't know what's wrong with this. I put it on and I take it off. I never feel good in this. And so I go head to toe, and I look at everything from the like hairstyle to like facial shapes, and then what kind of jewelry looks best on them, necklines, blazer length, like, the type of pants that look best. So it's really a head to toe kind of conversation. And I love that too, because generally how that conversation goes is we also do an image archetype as part of that conversation. And so have you guys heard about image archetypes before?
No.
So image archetypes, it's interesting. It's kind of like a style story or a style genre to be able to lean into. And so I got certified by Rachel Nakmias on image archetypes. And so there's a whole bunch of things that I look for in terms of like, even like your eyebrows, lips, like everything will give me clues, how tall you are, like the shape of your hands, all of that in terms of image archetype. And I take all that information and it will lead me to a particular archetype. And it could be like, you could have an archetype as a natural, and it could tell you that you look really great in flowy things. And so always to have a little bit of space in your clothes. Or you could be a classic that looks really good in very highly structured garments and very simple styles. And that can be so super helpful to just get like, where do I need to lean with my style to be most authentic and most comfortable?
I will say with that too, because I feel like we go through, like, there's a lot of phases and fads,
and
like
trends,
trends. And so when you said natural, for example, like I pictured that's been around for the last little while, that seems to be ongoing. And so it's very good to hear that, natural does work for some people, but sometimes I'll put on something and I'll be like, well, this is trending, and like maybe I'll think it's in my color palette, and I'll be like, but why is this not
Does
working
it
for
fit
me?
well? I don't feel, yeah.
Yeah,
Got it.
and so kind of navigating those trends and things, I feel is a little bit tricky, but it's good to know that, just because that's the
Yeah.
thing right now doesn't mean it has to apply.
Work for your style, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And
And
I
how-
think that's one thing I learned because I used to try to wear every style, right? I was just really
Yeah.
into fashion. So everything that
Yeah.
came out, I thought I ought to be able to wear it. And so
Yeah.
I would try everything, but now I don't do that. I'm very clear what works and what doesn't. And it's a much more efficient way to approach it. I mean, back in the day prior to my training, I have to admit, I always bought a lot of clothes and I looked good, but mainly why I looked good is because I I also had a lot of mistakes which I didn't wear. Like it was kind of hit and miss.
Mhm.
And I got some successes because I just bought so much.
Yeah.
But it's not efficient. I gave away a ton of clothes over the course of my lifetime. And just to have that clarity in terms of what works and what doesn't. And I don't feel like I have to wear everything now. I just know myself.
I just saw your recent post actually, and I really liked it. And it was like quality over quantity.
Mhm.
And I think that's really important too, because also it saves so much time in the morning knowing that everything in my closet is suited for me, color, style, whatever. So I'm not like fighting with myself. Does this look good? Like, half the time I'm like, why did I buy this?
Yes.
Also on the note of what you were saying in terms of your clients sending you photos of like different outfits so you could really get their shape. I had seen another post of yours where you talked about body shape and wanting to feel confident and, all bodies being beautiful. And that's absolutely the case. And I think a lot of people get lost in their clothes. And as you said, with the color itself, you can also get lost inside the garment itself as well, as something that I've definitely noticed that I've done. So it's great to hear that that's a focus as well.
Yes. Like one of the things that's been really trendy over the last couple of years is like, oversized boyfriend ways and that kind
Not
of
gonna
thing.
lie,
And so,
I do it.
I love it. I do love oversized.
Yes. And I've heard some people say like that's everybody looks great in oversized. And it's like, well, consider not everybody looks great. There are some people that looks great. I think that is a cool trend for sure for some people,
Yeah, I agree. Is there advice that you do give to your clients when they are like when it comes around trends, like when maybe it's the natural or maybe it's the oversized, we'll use those as examples. What do you normally say, or how do you direct your clients away from just going with like what the trend is?
So my clients, by the time they're done working with me, because everybody starts with a color analysis, like that is one of the things that I just say, you're going to want to start there. Don't skip that step. And then when we go on to image analysis, they are so incredibly clear by the time they're done both of those that like literally people have told me, they said prior to working with me, when they go shopping, like they walk into a huge store and it's like overwhelmed, right? Like, how do I know what's best and where do I start and what do I avoid? What do I go to? And when you're clear, it just is such a quick sort. Like you just like, no.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And that just makes such a difference. And I think even knowing for sure that it's meant for you in terms of color and style, that gives people a lot of confidence to try things that they wouldn't normally, because it's like, oh, okay, right. So I know that this works well. I'm tall, so I know this is going to look good on me. So I'll try that and feel good about it.
But I can see how that can be extremely helpful and time saving and just feeling good. I know a lot of people are intimidated by shopping, like even friends of mine that just don't enjoy the process because it's so overwhelming. They don't know where to start, they have ideas of styles, but of course they put it on and it doesn't suit their body. So they get discouraged from shopping.
Yeah. I used to do this one thing when I used to go shopping. I used to think gray. I don't think gray is in my palette, or at least most of the grays that I would have.
You could have a warm gray in your
gray, right? Okay, thank you. I would always go for these like cool grays because I'm like, oh, I have blue eyes, and sometimes I'm like, oh, blue and grays, my eyes. And I would do this thing, and I knew the colors didn't suit me when I would do this, but for some reason I would convince myself. So I would take the garment and I would put it in front of me, And then I would like almost squint my eyes until I was like, the color was like right. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I can buy this. And I was like, and then I would get home and I would never wear that piece because I was like, it just sits in my closet now. But yeah, I mean, I get what you mean when you say it's overwhelming. It really
Yeah.
is because I'm yeah,
For sure.
definitely.
It's overwhelming for sure. And I will say for women, even more so, Izzy, because
Yeah.
like there's just so many shapes of clothing out there, right, Sheridan? And you know, when it's in style, you kind of want to try it.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
that is overwhelming. At least we have we have 1, 2,
Yeah,
3
you've got
cuts.
shirts, pants, very
We got a
generic.
V-neck,
We have
a
to worry
crew
about
neck.
skirts and dresses and all sorts of things. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe I guess would you like to share how your experience went with your color analysis?
Yes. So I am a dark autumn. And so I'm wearing a nice, dark, warm brown today. And I will say that since we've had thank you so
Your
much.
palette, by the way.
Perfect. Yes, thank you. And it's so good because I used to think, well, first off, again, just going with the norms of what everyone has in their closet, like a white t-shirt or a full black outfit. And learning that those colors weren't in my palette and being like, okay, that makes sense because I never really felt comfortable in those colors. So seeing that was really nice. And now I go into a store and I'm like, ooh, like I gravitate to the warmth, which I mean, like you said, we all have a little bit of intuition. And there's definitely colors. I think when I came to our analysis, I was wearing like a deep blue shirt, and you're like, oh, you're in your colors. That's great. Because you can naturally see that with your finesse. And so that was really cool. But to really have it like narrow down to what those colors are definitely did make me feel a lot more confident and comfortable. And going into a store, I was like, I know where I'm going.
Yes.
So it was a really cool experience. And seeing all of the colors and colors standing in front of me was very insightful.
Yeah. Because I think even if you do have a sense of your colors,
Mhm.
you know, you're going to probably know 65 of your colors, right? Most of us just don't. And
Yeah.
I think the reality is we mostly pick a couple of colors that we feel good about, and we don't stray that far from those colors. So it just really opens the door to try a whole bunch of different ones too, give you some real variety.
I think also for mine, I think I actually did wear the same white top. So I'm a true winter. And so like bright whites do look really good on me.
That's you,
I know
Sheridan.
we balanced that we're bouncing back and forth between the bright winter and the true winter, but ultimately
Those are beautiful.
came down to true winter. And one thing that really did stand out to me was when we got to the makeup portion, because I don't wear bright colors. I do shy away from that, but we tried this beautiful fuchsia like blush and a bright lipstick, and it was something I wouldn't try before, but I loved how it looked against my skin. So it gave confidence knowing that that is in my color palette to be able to try it for sure in the future.
Right. Yeah. Like this lipstick, when I went for my color analysis 7 years ago, she brought out this lipstick, and I was probably wearing maybe like autumn lipstick. It's really common for people to be wearing autumn stuff.
Yeah.
But when she explained to me that this is meant for you, you can wear that. And I was shocked. I was like, I'm not wearing that, and I'm not wearing that to work. What do you mean? I can't work with that. But she's like, yes, actually you can totally wear that. And the more I sat with it, the more I was able to embrace it. And now this is like an integral part of me now. But I mean, I know what you're saying, Sheridan, that before it's like, I just had never seen it. I'd never considered it.
I do want to say right now you're like popping on our screen, like that yellow is beautiful, the lipstick. So it's definitely working in your favor.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions? I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Yeah. So I also would love to give our viewers a segue to where they can find you. So where's the best place to find you? And if they're interested in booking an appointment, how's the best way? What is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, I would welcome that. The best way to contact me is through my website, joycoloranimage.ca.
Okay.
Amazing. We'll make sure that we add that to the podcast link as well, so that they have a direct link.
Yeah, you guys can click down below.
Click right below.
Great.
Thank you so much for your time and for the experience of giving us the color analysis. It was something that I've never done, never experienced. So thank you so much for your time for that, and for taking the time to be on our podcast today.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on here. And you guys were just so wonderful to work with. I loved it.
Oh, thank you. As were you. Also, another thing I just want to mention too is when we did go to the analysis, I was so nervous. I didn't really know what to expect, and going in there and having that moment to kind of like just chat and like get to know each other too. Like you made a very warm and comfortable, inviting space. And then to jump off of that and go into the color analysis was a lovely experience.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This is my intention, is to have this be a high-end experience for people. And, for a lot of us, we don't make stuff about us, right? We're used to doing for other people or busy working or whatever. And when people come here, it's less than the cost of going to a spa, which, you go to the spa for the day. It's wonderful, but it's not going to change your life. Whereas this changes your life, and so it's very much my intention to have it be a wonderful experience. And people say all the time when they're here, they're like, this is so fun. I swear everybody is like, this is fun. And it's like, it's very fun it's super fun for me too, every single time.
It was definitely like an investment in myself type of moment. Yeah. And so it's something I can carry with me. So thank you for that.
You are so welcome. My pleasure.
Well, it was a pleasure speaking with you, and we hope you have a lovely day, and we can't wait to hear what's next.
You as well. Thank you so much, guys. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Joy. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody.
Yes, we'll catch you on the next episode. So this is 30. Bye.
Bye.
But we wanted to just dive more a little bit into our experiences, what we learned, and how we feel about our color analysis and what we're going to take with the information moving forward.
Yeah. So do you want to start?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So I found out I am a true winter. Maybe Isaiah will be super crafty and put up an image of the color wheel.
As you said that, I'm like, I'm going to insert a photo.
That will look really cool in our editing.
Yeah.
Just so you can see what the colors are for a true winter. I was really excited to see my color palette because I really, really wanted to wear more color, and there was a lot of vibrant colors if you saw.
There were, for yours especially, like I love my color palette because I gravitate there anyways, but seeing yours, I'm like, oh, that looks so fun.
I wanted to wear more colors, being like a Caribbean person, being black, like colors really pop on my skin, but knowing the right colors is definitely important.
Yeah.
And knowing which neutrals was also something really important to me because like when I want to be like, I want to be more, I guess, business. What's the word? No, that's not true because I can wear whatever I want in the business.
Sure can. That's what we learned today.
But when I do want to wear the neutral tones, which ones are great? Like, I love when people pull off a nude and a brown. And I was always like, oh, I don't want to look naked or I don't want to. Yeah. But it all matters if you're wearing the right shade of that. So, like, I want to wear browns, but I don't want to look completely naked. And I found which, like, browns I can wear. I look good in like a charcoal gray, which I love gray. So
I'm gonna have to give you half my wardrobe.
Well, I wear a lot of light grays, and I have to circle back and check because I love a light gray, but I don't remember. I think it is. But yeah, the yellows and the blues.
There was like a very stark white, and then there was like a grayish, almost periwinkle undertone.
Yeah, I'm excited, and now we're hitting fall, so I'm excited to get to wear those fall, like, those deep greens. And yeah, my color palette was very exciting for me. Because your fall colors, would they be like more gemstone kind of colors? Oh.
So
like royal blue looks fun on me. I love royal blue.
So exciting.
Deep green, like, and the thing, what I forgot to ask her?
I do have some questions.
I wanted to ask about textures.
Oh, yeah. You know what?
Because like flat color versus like a texture, does that change? And I love I do prefer textured for certain things.
I will say on that note, because I feel like there were still also when you're in an episode too, sometimes you're kind of like
you get a little overwhelmed.
A little bit. Yeah. Like I
want to say all the things and I say nothing.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how I felt because I was like, oh my gosh, I want to ask this question, and then I was like, there was a thing I wanted to circle back on.
Yeah, and I don't want to miss anything, and we want to be respectful of her time as well. But it was you don't think certain things I don't think of. I'm like, oh, I should have asked that.
I know. But one thing I was kind of thinking we can do with not just this one, but with our guests, and I had mentioned, rookie, is that I would love to do like Where Are They Now segment. So we can pop back in, we can ask her questions. What I think would be great for you guys as our viewers is if you have any follow-up questions that you have, let us know, because I'm so excited now.
That's true.
that
Like
we
if there was
can-
something we didn't get to touch on with a guest that you would have loved to hear more about,
Yeah.
that'd be cool. We would
Yeah.
love to.
I'm
Yeah.
excited to step back into that.
So tell me about your color analysis experience.
I had a good time too. I think the neutrals for me was the big one, which you will see in the episode as well, or have seen in the episode. But like grays and things like that, and things that I felt like either A, stood in front of me, or B, like washed me out, or like just didn't, I squinted when I didn't feel good in them. So it's really cool to like really narrow it down and to be like, oh, this is why I didn't feel good in it, and it wasn't on my palette. So it was really fun. And there were some cool colors that like I've not worn before, and I'm really excited for those. I also thought it was cool when I was there, she talked about these colors should all go well together. She's like, you can break them up in different ways. If you did like a monochromatic look, maybe you do like the dark variation of this, the light, things like that.
I love monochromatic. I do want to have like a monochromatic moment.
Love it. But you could also be like, and this is outside of the actual analysis, but if you were to do like a monochromatic look and you just were going with a trend, which I've done before, I've done a monochromatic look where it was like a really light, like a neutral.
You do the orange that everyone calls you sriracha.
Yeah, well, that is actually in my palette.
There you
so
go.
It works, but I do look like
Intuition,
sriracha. Just don't pair it with green. But yeah, like I've done the monochromatic where it was totally washing me out and like, this sucks. But I was excited to see what I could play around with.
It's crazy because like she said like clothes can really make or break how you feel about yourself. So
Yeah.
it's cool to know. Like I want to enter rooms and I want to be like confident and I want to be noticed, but we don't want our clothes to stand in front of us. But you also don't want your clothes to like wash you out. So
there was one thing that she had mentioned when I did my analysis, and she's like, sometimes like you can go into a situation where someone will say, oh, I really like this like garment, and like maybe they do really like the garment or whatever it might be, or like maybe it's just like a natural thing that like you say because you don't know what to say, or like maybe it's a loud piece, so you're like, oh wow. But I think when she had said that, I'm like, yeah, like I've definitely worn pieces where like I had this chartreuse green hoodie and like that did not really look great on me, but I love the color. It was on trend, but it didn't really suit me. And I feel like sometimes people will see that, but maybe you'll wear something outside. We'll say the chartreuse for an example, and they'll be like, oh, I really love your sweater. And then you'll see them next time, but they don't remember who you are because they remember the sweater, but you didn't make the impact.
Oh, that's
so,
a good one.
Yeah, I think it's very cool.
That's a good one. We wanted to play a little game because I think we ran out of a little time, so we're going to do a little fashion game.
Yeah.
Just you and I.
Yeah, let's
like
do it.
I like hanging out with you.
So I'll start off the questions. Do you remember some of the questions?
Nope. I think you're going to ask all the questions because I don't have notes.
Gonna ask all the questions. So the questions that Sheridan came up for us, because she's great at this. She has a game where we're going to do this or that, and it's a fashion edition because that's very on.
That's what we were talking about today.
It's on brand today. So the first question, Sheridan. We need the button. Press the button.
Oh.
Which button is it again?
Do I remember which button it is? Okay.
It's my favorite part.
We're going to play a game, and Sheridan's going to guess which button it is. So it's a double whammy game. It's time to play this or that.
Nope.
It's time to play this or that.
Nope.
That's funny because that's a joke. It's time to play this or that.
Nailed it.
20 tries later.
All right, we only have 4 options, so that was 75. Okay, so our first question, Sheridan, is stilettos or wedges?
Wedges. I think I'm retiring from heels. They are so uncomfortable. Why? Maybe my body type can't take it, my weight distribution. I don't know. I like wedges because there's like a full support type of situation happening, but honestly,
they are little torture devices.
All in all, like who decided?
Stilettos,
like I love how they make my legs look, but I just don't. They're not
calves.
comfortable. I love my calves. So I'm happy to live in Vancouver where heels are like not a thing. You can go to a club in running shoes. That does make me happy. I
So
reserve
true.
my heels for dinner time, events where you go out and you sit the entire time so that my feet get a break. But I'm definitely a wedge girl. I feel like the weight displacement for my body type, it's a little more secure than a stiletto.
That is fair. You definitely have like that extra structure with that little.
Yeah, I feel like,
wedge.
it's supportive.
Yeah. I personally wear neither. And that's fair. Some gents do, and if
What you prefer? What's comfortable for you?
I do not, I will obviously. I mean, I love the look of a stiletto.
I think they are like I love a woman in a power suit.
Oh my God.
And a stiletto.
Oh,
Not
I love
me,
it.
but I love
And I
it.
love the peekaboo moment. One of my favorite
pointy
things
toe
in fashion.
heel.
Yes,
Pointy
when you
toe.
just see it like peeking through like a pair of jeans.
It's very like Devil Wears Prada, like
Yeah.
just those.
I always said if I was born as a woman, I would wear them, but what I would do is I would literally just like wear the sneakers until I had to get to where
Right
I
in
need
the
to
office,
go,
and then-
and then put them on, but like they're my sitting shoes.
Yes.
My stylish sitting
My
shoes.
mom, it's really funny because my mom's office is like a second closet because she, like Toronto weather is horrible. So she's got like 3 different pairs of like heavy winter boots, but she's got every single type of heel under her desk just to change into. Smart.
Stylish. But yeah, I really got to give it to you girls. All right, so the next question, ankle boots or knee-high boots?
That's a tough one. I love both. Because of my awesome calves, knee highs are very hard
Own
to
it.
find. So love my awesome calves, but some knee high boots are not made stretchy.
I didn't think about
So I
that.
have a very beautiful pair of suede ones that I bought. Thank you, Nordstrom. R.I.P. that I love because they're stretchy and comfortable. So I do love knee high. Ankle boots I tend to gravitate more towards.
What about like a bunchy knee high? Would that work better? Like, sometimes I see those
I know what you
jean
mean, like they
ones where
sag.
they like,
As long as they have like some of them don't have stretch in the back part. So
ooh, that would
some
be
of them
so
are like leather with a
uncomfortable.
zipper.
I can visualize
Like you're
that
trying to
without
squeeze.
knowing.
Yeah, exactly.
I know
So
what you
I
mean.
do love both. But yeah, I think I'm gonna try and wear my knee highs more this season. They're suede, so it's hard with this weather. But
knee-high.
I love a knee high with like a dress or jeans. So let's try and wear those more.
Again, I never really wear knee
I'm sorry,
highs.
these questions were.
But that's okay. But that being said, I do love a good ankle boot for my own personal
Like
wardrobe.
I love guys in Chelsea boots.
Love Chelsea
Love
boots.
Chelsea
Love 'em.
boots.
But I will say I like them both. Not for me personally, but just like as a fashion like
Somebody who enjoys
piece.
fashion, yeah.
I really love, one of my favorites is when like someone wears like almost like a monochromatic look and then their boots are like a knee high and the
tan
same. I'm
or-
like,
oh,
or
and
like
the
a whole
same.
jean thing.
Oh, I think
so
Rihanna
cool.
did like a jean knee high.
Yeah, that was boss. Okay, so our next question, 2-piece sets or mismatch patterns?
Okay, I feel like you can answer this one.
2-piece sets. Absolutely. I hate
You
a
are a
mismatch
matching, I
pattern.
know.
And I also love
I think I just don't know how to do the mismatch pattern because some people do it really
Some people know how to do it.
My dad, oops, sorry, Becky. My dad is really good at like mixing a floral with a whatever or a pinstripe with a whatever. So I just don't, for me, it's like it's hard for me to like visualize it. So
No,
I love a set.
wouldn't be able.
I love a set.
Favorite accessory piece? So this could be earrings, ring, watch, necklace.
I'm really into rings and I never used to wear them, but now I love stackable rings. I love when I see people's hands and they've got like a couple
like
knuckle,
it.
couple
Yeah.
down there. So I'm into rings.
And I also feel like you could wear it in so many different styles. Like you could wear like, I've seen like very
What do you want to say?
gemstone. Hi, buddy. I see like gemstones and things like that where it's like really like
Like a chunky statement
Almost
piece and
edgy.
then like a little thin one. Like I just
Yeah.
love when people's hands are covered.
or
in
even if it's
rings.
like delicate like layering too.
Yes.
Like there's a lot of really cool ways
I
you can
love-
do it.
yeah,
That's
that's
a
my
good way to
favorite accessory.
like add texture.
Yeah,
Favorite designer. Oh, I know
that's
mine.
a hard one. I
Mine's
know
so
you
easy
know,
for
but
me. Actually, yeah, I do have a few. But I have one for sure.
That's hard for me. Okay, well,
Well.
honestly, I don't know. I love Gucci. I don't know if I would wear necessarily Gucci clothing, but I do love like all of their bags. I love their print. I do love like a Gucci staple piece.
That's fair.
As well as a Louis Vuitton staple piece. But again, I don't really like their clothing. I'm
But
more
if you could
towards
only buy one of these as a staple piece, like what would your first one be? Let's say bag. Like if you had to
if
get.
I got one bag, it would be the Louis Vuitton duffel that I could travel with.
There you go.
That's the one piece I want. But like my favorite fashion designer that's actually really hard for me because I think I like bits and pieces that people have done. Watching the Kardashians has also made me appreciate different styles as well. I loved when Kim did the Dolce & Gabbana runway show that she put together because it was like an ode to like the millennial 2000s.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cool just because it was like a high fashion way to bring it back. But yeah, I don't really know. I don't know if I have a favorite designer. I like bits and pieces of different designers. So
Just giving Drake some extra love over here. He's so far away. That's fair. I mean, me too, because there's definitely like a couple designers. I've really gotten to love Ovo, October's very own. And Off-White, but I will say mine has always been Dior. I just think it's so classy.
definitely Dior.
But their bags are like, so their actual like garments and everything I feel like are so like, for me, like timeless and like elegant, but then their bags are so like industrial, which I love.
Oh, you know what? One like piece that I would love to have is a Chanel 2-piece, like the tweed skirt and the tweed blazer. That's a piece I would love to have.
Well, that works because you picked 2-piece over mismatched patterns.
Yeah, I don't know how to do the mismatch.
Well, those were all of our questions for the game, so I feel like that kind of. Do we press the button after as well?
Okay, well, we'll do it anyways because I messed up the first time.
Why not add a little sound clip just for fun?
Thanks for playing the game.
That's always fun. Well, we appreciate you tuning into this episode. Again, just make sure that you check out all the socials, spread some love for our guests.
Thank you for rocking with us. I know that we keep taking breaks, but, you know, life's got to live. We have to get jobs.
Life's got a life. Summer's
over. So, you know, thanks for sticking by. To the new followers, I'm not going to make promises that we can't keep. So I'm not going to say that we're going to.
But we can promise a few things. We've got 3 for sure episodes that we will be uploading. Yes. We have 2. So we have 1 episode coming on Tuesday, which is our
cute little short like a little short extra of an episode. So we'll do 2.
That'll be our bonus.
Yeah, we'll do a bonus episode this week. So.
And then next Tuesday, so not this Tuesday coming up, but next Tuesday, which will be October 3rd. Stay tuned.
Okay, so Isaiah gave you a date, so you better hold him to it now.
October 3rd, we will be posting this. Well, I mean, that doesn't
hopefully
make sense.
This episode, but
why am I saying that? They're not.
You're not going to see it. They're going to be watching it on October 3rd and be like, duh.
This is October 3rd. Well. Thanks for joining us,
we're
October
tuning out.
3rd. Have a lovely day. Thank you so much.
Bye.
That was a little messy.